You could be destroying your automatic car without even knowing it. Small habits, things you repeat every day, quietly chip away at your transmission, engine, and brakes. At first, nothing seems wrong, but inside, damage builds until one morning your car jerks, stalls, or refuses to move, and the repair bill is in the thousands. Here are 15 habits you must avoid if you want your car to last. 1. Shifting gears while the car is moving. It feels harmless. You back out of a parking spot, the car hasn't fully stopped, and you slam it straight into drive. But every time you do this, your transmission takes the hit. Instead of letting the brakes absorb the momentum, you force fragile internal bands and clutches to take the stress. Automatic transmissions aren't built for that. Even at 10 kilometers an hour, that sudden lurch is the sound of parts wearing down. Repairs in Europe often cost several thousand euros. Safety systems may delay total failure, but they cannot stop long-term damage. 2. Coasting in neutral. Older cars once saved fuel this way. Modern ones don't. Today's fuel-injected engines already cut fuel when you release the gas while in gear. In neutral, the engine still burns fuel just to idle. Worse, you lose engine braking, essential for control on hills. Relying only on brakes risks overheating and brake failure. If you suddenly need to accelerate, shifting back into gear costs you precious seconds. That delay can be dangerous. 3. Revving the engine before shifting to drive. Some drivers love the sound of a roaring engine. They start in neutral, press the gas, then slam into drive. This is called shock loading. The stored energy hits the transmission hard, wearing clutches and gears far faster than normal. Over time, you get rough shifts, sluggish acceleration, and huge bills. Replacing a transmission can cost over 3,000 euros. Extra revving also overheats oil and confuses modern gearboxes, making shifts jerky or delayed. 3. Revving the engine before shifting to drive. Some drivers love the sound of a roaring engine. They start in neutral, press the gas, then slam into drive. This is called shock loading. The stored energy hits the transmission hard, wearing clutches and gears far faster than normal. Over time, you get rough shifts, sluggish acceleration, and huge bills. Replacing a transmission can cost over 3,000 euros. Extra revving also overheats oil and confuses modern gearboxes, making shifts jerky or delayed. 4. Driving with 2 feet. Some think using one foot for gas and the other for brakes gives more control. In reality, it creates confusion and danger. In a panic, pressing both pedals is likely, leaving the car unsure, speed up or stop. That split-second mistake can cause an accident. Even light pressure on the brake pedal overheats pads and rotors, reducing effectiveness. Worse, constant brake lights from a resting foot can mislead other drivers, raising rear-end collision risk. In Europe, over 20,000 people died in road accidents in 2022, many from avoidable mistakes like this. 5. Leaving the car in neutral at traffic lights. It seems logical. Shift to neutral to rest the engine. But modern cars are built for idling, and many even have start-stop systems that handle energy saving for you. Shifting yourself interrupts the design. More dangerously, if another vehicle rushes towards you from behind, you lose precious time putting the car back in drive. That delay can cost your safety. 6. Engaging park before a full stop. One of the most damaging habits. Inside the transmission, a small part called the parking pawl locks the shaft when in park. If the car is still rolling, that tiny piece takes the full force. Over time, it bends, snaps, or fails completely. Repairs can require dismantling the whole transmission, costing thousands. Worse, if the pawl no longer holds, your parked car can roll away. On the slope, that's not just expensive, it's a potential disaster. 7. Ignoring transmission fluid changes. Transmission fluid is the lifeblood of an automatic car. It cools, lubricates, and keeps shifts smooth. But like engine oil, it degrades over time. Heat and friction break it down, turning it dark and burnt. Ignore it, and soon the gears grind, shifts jerk, and the system overheats. Eventually, the transmission fails. Replacements cost 2,000 to 4,000 euros in Europe, but a fluid change is a fraction of that. Warning signs include a burnt smell, sluggish acceleration, or lower fuel efficiency. Cars driven in heavy traffic or hot climates need changes even sooner. 8. Overloading the vehicle. Putting more weight than designed puts stress on every system: engine, suspension, and especially brakes. Stopping distances increase by up to 20%. In real emergencies, that extra length can mean disaster. Tires wear faster, fuel consumption rises by 10%, and handling worsens. In Europe, fines for overloading range from 100 to 500 euros, but the real risk is safety. The 2019 bridge collapse in Tarn, France, after a truck exceeded weight limits, showed the deadly results of overload. For daily driving, always check the GVWR listed inside your door or manual. 9. Ignoring dashboard warning lights. Half of drivers admit to ignoring warning lights for days or weeks. This gamble can destroy a car. Oil pressure warning? If ignored, the engine can seize. Repairs often cost more than 5,000 euros. Transmission temperature light? That means overheating, and ignoring it leads to total failure. Modern cars come with OBD2 systems that pinpoint errors. A scanner costs 50 to 100 euros, cheaper than waiting until the problem explodes into thousands. Warning lights aren't suggestions, they are early alarms. 10. Pushing too hard in cold weather. Winter mornings tempt drivers to start fast, but fluids like engine oil and transmission fluid thicken in the cold. Without warm lubrication, metal parts grind, causing most engine damage within the first 5 kilometers of a trip. Revving or speeding right away also increases emissions, since filters and converters don't work cold. Experts advise idling 30 to 60 seconds, then driving gently until warm. Skipping this step shortens lifespan, increases wear, and risks costly damage. 11. Power braking. Some drivers press the brake and gas together to launch faster from a stop. It feels like a racing trick, but it's one of the fastest ways to kill a transmission. Automatic cars rely on the torque converter to transfer power. When you hold both pedals, the converter overheats almost instantly. Fluid breaks down, clutches burn, and gears wear faster than normal. Modern cars sometimes cut throttle response to prevent it, but older models don't. Repeat this habit, and you could face a total transmission failure, the most expensive repair an automatic car can need. Smooth acceleration is safer, cheaper, and far better for the vehicle. 12. Resting your hand on the gear selector. It seems harmless, just letting your hand rest on the shifter. In reality, even light pressure strains delicate parts like selector forks and control rods. These components are made for quick movements, not constant weight. Over time, gears can misalign, and the shift mechanism may fail completely. Beyond mechanical wear, it's also a safety issue. European driving standards stress 2 hands on the wheel for control. In an emergency, 1 hand on the shifter slows reaction time, increasing accident risk. Use the armrest instead, and leave the gear selector alone until you actually need it. 13. Driving through deep water. Flooded roads are far more dangerous than they look. In 2023, flood-related road damage in Europe cost over 230 million euros. Automatic cars are especially vulnerable because of low air intakes and exposed vents. If water enters the engine, hydrolock occurs. Water in cylinders bends or snaps pistons, often destroying the engine beyond repair. Even if water doesn't reach the engine, it can seep into electronics under the seats or floorboards. That causes corrosion and costly electrical failures. Most cars can only handle around 10 centimeters of water safely. Anything deeper risks catastrophic damage. The safest choice is simple. If you see standing water, don't gamble. Turn back.
14. Driving on an empty tank. Many drivers wait until the fuel light glows before filling up, but this habit can silently ruin your car. The fuel pump, located inside the tank, relies on fuel for cooling and lubrication. When the tank runs low, the pump is exposed to air, causing overheating and premature wear. Sediment at the bottom of the tank also gets sucked in, clogging filters and injectors, leading to misfires and reduced efficiency. In colder climates, low fuel allows condensation inside the tank, and that moisture can freeze in the lines, blocking flow completely. A small act of procrastination, running too low, can easily lead to expensive fuel system repairs. 15. Sudden acceleration and braking. Aggressive driving may feel exciting, but every burst of speed and harsh brake puts extreme strain on an automatic car. Hydraulic pressure and torque converters work overtime when you floor the gas, overheating transmission fluid and grinding internal parts. Hard braking warps rotors, overheats pads, and shortens brake life dramatically. Even advanced systems like autonomous emergency braking, now standard in new European cars, can be less effective if you constantly drive this way. The result? Reduced safety and higher repair costs. Smooth driving doesn't just save fuel, it keeps your transmission, engine, and brakes alive longer. Taking care of an automatic car isn't just about regular oil changes or inspections. The truth is, everyday driving habits matter even more. Shifting into gear too soon, coasting in neutral, ignoring fluids, or powering through with sudden acceleration, each one quietly shortens your car's lifespan. The difference between a smooth, reliable ride and a sudden breakdown often comes down to small choices behind the wheel. Repairs for transmissions, engines, or brakes often cost thousands of euros, but most of these disasters are preventable. Change a few simple habits, drive with care, and your car will repay you with years of reliability and safety. Don't let mistakes you never even noticed be the reason your car fails you when you need it most.